Seeing this, the boy quickly hid, pulling his companion with him. But then a fat cat spotted them. The two of them calmly took a seat on a chair, looking utterly embarrassed. Soon, a lavish dinner was ready.
Mangiamo.
A flustered Alberto directly reached out to grab the food with his hands. He ended up turning the spaghetti into a meal eaten with his fingers. After dinner, Julia arranged for them to sleep in a tree. But during the night, it rained. Both of them transformed into their sea monster forms. Luckily, before they could be discovered, they shook off the rainwater and returned to their human forms. Then, Julia went to her father to ask for the competition entry fee. But her father, being a sea monster hunter, hadn't caught a sea monster in a long time. His catches from fishing at sea were also meager. So, her father didn't have any money either. Alberto, who originally lived in the ocean, suggested they could help with fishing, and so, they went out to sea together. They quickly caught a whole boatload of fish. Now the entry fee was finally solved. Immediately after, they began their training. The triathlon events in the small town were swimming, eating pasta, and cycling. Julia was in charge of swimming, Alberto was in charge of eating pasta, and Luca was in charge of cycling. To train Luca's cycling skills, they went to the top of a hill together. Seeing Luca hesitate to go down the slope, Alberto decided to demonstrate for him personally. Although Alberto's cycling skills were impressive, because he kept accelerating on the downhill, the two of them ended up crashing through the guardrail and plunging into the sea. When the townspeople came to rescue them, Luca, to conceal his own identity, decided to betray Alberto.
I knew this would happen! Monster!
Just then, a group of sea monster hunters arrived at the commotion. To save his own life, a heartbroken Alberto could only return to the sea. Back home, Luca kept trying to explain to Julia. Seeing Luca's emotions gradually spiral out of control, Julia simply threw a cup of water on him. And just like that, Luca's identity was completely exposed. It turned out Julia had already sensed something was off about the two of them. By now, everyone in town had heard about the sea monster sightings, and were enthusiastically trying to catch it. And Julia's father was the most famous sea monster hunter of all. To protect Luca, Julia had no choice but to send him away. But Luca was unwilling to give up on the race. However, Julia urged him not to risk his life for a competition. With no other option, Luca went to find his friend Alberto again. Alberto, still hurt by his betrayal, didn't want anything to do with him. Seeing this, Luca could only sincerely apologize to Alberto. He promised Alberto that he would definitely win the race, and use the prize money to buy a small Vespa. Then, the two of them could travel the world together on the scooter. The next day, the race officially began. The first event was the swimming race. To prevent contact with water and exposure, Luca had to wear a 300-pound diving suit to compete. After a difficult struggle, he finally reached the shore in last place, but John suddenly stuck out a leg and tripped him. Luckily, Luca managed to pull his head into the suit in time. Fortunately, no one noticed his true identity. He then quickly changed his clothes under a table, and began the second event, the pasta eating contest. But as a sea monster, he couldn't use a fork properly. His friend Julia had no choice but to coach him from the sideline.